Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Growth for Good, the podcast that highlights good businesses across the Highlands. I'm very excited to be with Lisa Lugton today to talk about her new venture, which is Oliver's Pet Crematorium. It's perhaps a bit of an unusual subject for a podcast, but one that I think is worthy of examination and some of the sensitivities around these situations for people. So thank you for joining, Lisa.
You're welcome. It's lovely to be here.
Oliver's Pet Crematoriums, it's an unusual name. Why is it called Oliver's?
So it's after my Jack Russell Oliver, who really is the catalyst to the whole business. He's the reason I'm doing it. I've always had pets, grown up with pets, and in having my own pets and having gone through loss many times with them. Normally, when I was asked at the vet, what would you like to do, cremation or burial? And I've always opted for cremation. And then you're upset and you're grieving and the vet takes care of it. And in a couple of weeks, you get the phone call to say, that's your pet back now, and you pick up the ashes from the vet. And so that I've gone through that a few times. And then I moved vet, thinking that I had actually, I'd moved vet, but I just moved location. They were still owned by the same group. And Ollie went downhill within a couple of days and had to be put to sleep. So again, I was asked the question, what do you want to do, cremate or bury? And of course I've said cremate. And I had a really kind vet who said to me, Lisa, would you like to use Nairn? And I didn't realise that there was a pet crematorium in Nairn. I then obviously had the option then of taking Oliver myself, which I did. And I met Jackie, who's lovely, and her and her husband have the pet crematorium through there. So I took him there. The turnaround was really quick, so I got to be reunited with Ollie within a couple of days.
That must have been comforting.
That was much better, because I don't think you really start the whole grieving, process until you're waiting to get the ashes back. Just like we are as humans, where we're waiting for a funeral. So I got Ollie back, and that really was when the cogs started ticking, and I thought, well, why didn't I know before that Nairn existed? What is the process here? And it really made me take a long, hard look at the final farewell journey between pet and owner, and why I didn't know about Nairn, why they were being sent away. And then I spent it's been 3 years.
Is that what inspired you to think, look, there's a gap?
There's a gap here. There's definitely, I think, I know how busy Jackie is. I've been to see her, and she's been actually super. Yeah. But I knew that there was a gap in the market. And also the more I looked at it and the more I researched it, I really want to create the most compassionate and beautiful service for people when they say goodbye to their pets, and to bring other services in as well, rather than, I never wanted it to be just a pet crematorium and transactional. I needed it to be so much more.
Speaking as somebody who's recently lost a beloved pet, the going to the vets, that experience can be, I would say impersonal. I think they try their best.
Absolutely.
And there's some really good vets, but it's not a nice experience. And it's usually, as you say, a bit, I want to use the word transactional. It just doesn't have that compassionate feeling. And I don't lay that at the door of any vets, but that must have been something that was going through your mind.
Yeah, I think in fairness to all of the vets, that the rooms that they would use would have to be multi-purpose and used for many other things. With me, what I've created is something that feels non-clinical. It's like coming into a living room. It's a lovely calm space. It's completely private, so that when both you and your pet come, you're as relaxed as you can be coming in with your pet, where there are no triggers, there's no previous smells, your pet's not been there before. And actually I think that is I think that's a USP. I think one of the best services, if it's for you, is at home where a pet's in the comfort of its own surroundings. For some people, that might not suit some people. And in fact, I know from phone calls this morning that people have wanted to come to me because they like the idea of, you know, your pet gently passing away and then being carried through for cremation, and it's all there. There's no cold storage, there's no third-party transport. It's just a much nicer, compassionate service.
And you want to say goodbye to your pet. I mean, you know, that when you go to the vets or whatever, like I said earlier, it's a bit of a clinical process. It sounds like what you've spotted in the gap in the market there is a place where somebody can go and say goodbye properly. They can do that with
and have time.
And have time with them. You know,
time's a big factor.
That environment thing sounds really important. I know I've seen your layout that you've got there. It's a lovely and welcoming.
Thank you.
Very warm place. You know, so that did that pop into your mind wholly formed, or did it come to you over a period of time?
What how I wanted it to look.
Yeah. Because it's very good. The way you've laid it out is, you know, it feels seamless, but also very, very caring.
And good, because that's exactly what I want. I want people to come through the door and feel relaxed, and their pet as well. So I think I probably always had a vision in my head. I knew what I wanted to create, and I also knew where I wanted to be. Not that it had to be a specific town or plot of land, but I knew what it had to eventually look like and feel like. And I held that vision for 3 years. So I knew when I say I knew what I didn't want it to be, because I wanted to have the service of on-site euthanasia. The last thing I wanted to be, and it would have been easier and a whole lot quicker if I was down an industrial estate, and that's no disrespect to anybody, whoever that is, but for me that wasn't right. I don't want you driving away and I'm right next to the recycling plant. It was the wrong feel for the whole place. So instead I knew I wanted somewhere quiet, ample parking, really a lovely outlook, so that when you do drive away, as indeed people have this morning from me, I know that they feel as much comfort as they can, knowing that their pet has been left somewhere lovely, and also with somebody that's taken that long and put that much work into finding the right place. That I hope that brings extra comfort to think, well, if she's running, if she's done that, she's going to run the rest of her business with that much care. And I will.
So you've had quite a very varied career, haven't you? Because I think your background is in hospitality. You've been a police officer. You've run Frankie Lolas, the soft play area. How did you take those kind of experiences, those varied experiences, and turn that into the influences that were going to help you with Oliver's?
So you're right, I've come from a hotel background. That was obviously with my parents, my nana initially, who had a hotel in the Macabre. And although I worked in hospitality as a teenager, I didn't stay in it. And I don't know why, I just didn't. I do know why. I knew that I wanted to join the police. So I went off and did that at 17. And for many years, left for a while, had my children, went back, and then after I had my youngest child, I saw a niche in the market for a quality soft play, somewhere that people wanted to, parents who would normally suffer a soft play.
We've all been there.
We've all been
if you're
there.
A parent, you've all been
for
there.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Instead, to create somewhere that they wanted to come because there was really good food, homemade food, good cake, good coffee, really clean, great staff, and just somewhere that you didn't suffer for 2 hours, that you actually went, met other people, and the soft play was almost ancillary to the rest of it.
And that business you ran was noted for its high standards.
It was multi-award winning.
Was that experience important for you in terms of setting this business up?
I think it gave me my grounding in the police. I think running Frankie and Lolas as well. So that was obviously my first attempt at running a business.
Pretty good attempt.
Thank you, thank you. But the police as well the police gives you such a great grounding in everything. You never know what you're going to next. You deal with people in all walks of life. So great experience there. Didn't plan on leaving the police because I'd sat my promotion exams, but then I saw that niche.
There's a theme of looking after people there, though, isn't there?
I suppose yes. And then I saw the niche and thought, right, will I go? That took probably 2 years to find the right location, and then to really look at every aspect of soft play and think, how can I raise the bar in the soft play industry? What can I do to make it better? And that's probably something that I'm doing again here with Oliver's, where I'm looking at every single aspect of what would make, Oliver's and making it the best I possibly can, to the highest standard I can.
The attention to detail is visible when I mentioned earlier about the kind of seamless but compassionate, caring environment. Your attention to detail all the way through is something to behold. Really, it's a great process. That attention to detail, that ethos, has that been influenced by people in your life? I'm thinking particularly, I know when we were chatting before, you told me about your nana, a formidable Italian businesswoman. Is that kind of thing run in the DNA, about expecting high standards, demanding them almost?
I would say my nana would expect high standards, yes. So she came over with the rest of her family from Italy. I think she was 13 at the time when she came over, and she had an ice cream shop with her parents in Hilphead. And then they bought a hotel, I think it was the Victoria Hotel down there, and then they came up to Lochaber and bought the West End. And then my father, who's no longer with me, he also ran that as well. But my nana was quite fierce, I would say. High standards, really high standards, and
so that
but
is
not
a clue.
high in height.
That is a clue.
Tiny.
That is a clue.
But and what's quite sad for me now is if there was ever a time that I wish my nana was here or my dad was here to tap on them for advice, support, but they're obviously not. So it's a lone journey, but that's okay, because I've got Frankie Lolas behind me. I've done it before. I know I can do it again. I know I'm doing it for all the right reasons. This business hits a little bit different. Frankie and Lolas was a great business, full on. I ran it obviously from up here. This business I run from in here, using all the experience and knowledge from up here, but it's definitely a heart-centered approach. I am dealing with people at their most vulnerable time. And I know that even from today, Drew, from the 3 different people I've seen already. And it truly is a real privilege to be with people during that process when they are at their most vulnerable, and to hold a space for them as they make the first contact with me, right to the very end, which doesn't end just even with, giving back somebody their beloved pet's ashes. There's also aftercare as well. So I think I've probably gone off on a tangent there.
No, I think that's really good what you're telling us there. It's clear that the influence is there. You talked about your dad, you talked about your nana.
I think they were very passionate people.
And compassionate as well. So they obviously the location of where you've set up, you talked about that earlier, as well as people. Are there places that kind of affect you? I noticed you've talked about Nairn a couple of times. Is that a place you like going?
Yes. Nairn Beach.
Nairn Beach.
That's where
anybody with dogs.
I think if you were to look on my personal Facebook page, it's just full of my own pets at Nairn Beach or food. Cooking. I'm a keen cook. But Nairn, yes, it has. That's where I wrote my business plan on the dunes. I told you the other day, I tried it at home, and after about 3 or 4 days, it was just such a mental block that I thought outside, straight to the beach, and then that's where it all flowed out. But yes, for anything I think that's going on in my life, good or bad, or that's where I would go, straight to the water, straight to the beach, rain, hail or shine. That's where you'll find me and my dogs.
So you've made some real sacrifices in order to get this off the ground. I understand you were of no fixed abode for a while in order to get. Tell us about what happened there.
So when I began this journey, I have been on lots of different plots of land and lots of different places, and for lots of different reasons, they fell through. Eventually, I saw Alcaig, which is the staging and farmhouse where I am now. And
anybody watching the video of this podcast will be able to see that in some of the shots.
Yes, absolutely, on my website and Facebook. So I drove down to it and looked at it, saw the vets were in it previously to me, I think it's SRUC, and I offered for it came with a farmhouse and the staging. The staging was absolutely perfect for me. Now I had not long moved. I'd moved to a beautiful house that I loved. I loved it. It was a great house, and it was a bit of a project. I love a project. I love a challenge, and so I did it up. The back of the house, it got a beautiful, not an extension because we didn't extend the actual footprint, but there was a lovely kitchen and everything put in, and it was really nice. I didn't even get to enjoy it for a year, but I saw the staging, put in for the staging at the time, and they said no. The landlord said no because and I understand this, they wanted the farmhouse to go with the staging. So it was at that point, and after a long journey and an emotional roller coaster of being in all these different plots and thinking, when is this going to start for me? And do I back down? So many people said, Lisa, for goodness sakes, just take that or just take that. And it would always take me back to going back to the business plan here, right at the start, before I even put pen to paper. I knew that any decision that I make about the business will always be what's best for the pet owner and what's best for the pet. And if I look after them, I look after the business. So I thought, right, am I going to sell the house? People are saying you could be up and running a year ago. I got offered land at different business parks, but it just wasn't right. And I'm so glad that I didn't then say, do you know what? I really need to start. I need to start bringing some money in because it's money out at the moment. But I didn't. I hung on in there. That's probably from my grandfather. I thought, no, I'm sticking to my guns here. And I made the decision when they knocked me back for the staging to sell my house. That was a really difficult decision. I hadn't even enjoyed this beautiful kitchen for a year. But that's how much I knew I wanted to do this. So I sold it. I sold it to a lovely family, which makes it better. And
a little bit more bearable.
Well, it was. They were lovely, and I knew they would enjoy it. The children, and I knew, and it was a lovely house, a huge garden. So that sold straight away. It was the day they came to see it. The first day, before it had actually even gone properly on the market, they came round and they bought the house. And then, however many weeks later, once the legals were all done, that was me out. But my lease at the time for Alcaig hadn't been finalised, and so I didn't really have anywhere to stay. I knew that they needed in, they wanted to be in, and I think it was the 30th of January that they moved in. So I had this gap where I thought, oh my gosh, I've got nowhere to live. I mean, I don't mean that, there's many less fortunate than me. I had money in the bank, but I still didn't have anywhere to live. So I was a few weeks. I was in different hotels. I was drying washing in the back of my car, driving about, and then somebody very kind said, Lisa, because it was expensive, at the hotels every night, got me a cabin to stay up at, I think it's Black Park it's called, up the top of Inverness that looks over Beaulieu. So they found there for me, and this lovely couple, I rented that for just a week. And by that point, the reason I couldn't sign the lease was because I didn't want to sign the lease when I hadn't had the change of use from planning come through, and then I've got this 10-year lease, but I can't run my business. So it was trying to get everything to come together.
Was there a big feeling of jeopardy during that period? Did you have that worry that things could all go wrong, you could lose everything? Was it?
I held on to my faith.
Was your faith in that?
I just held
was
on.
That formidable Nana in the back of your head?
Probably. Yeah. I think that I just hung on to the vision and thought, no, I didn't let fear in. Fear has definitely been part of the journey. Of course it is. Anyone setting up a business, fear comes in.
Tell me about some of the hurdles you faced.
The biggest hurdle, I think, is combating fear. It's fear. It's
Is it that old favourite, the imposter syndrome?
Oh, 100%. And I think fear's still there. Of course it is, but I think I've got him gaffer taped in the corner now. You'll notice he's a male. I've made fear masculine. So it's still there, but I think what I wouldn't let happen, and I hope that anybody listening to this, that it would inspire them not to as well, is to not let fear stop you doing what you want to do. And I think that's where a lot of people may possibly, they might have a great idea and fear then stops you taking it forward, but it's been able to push through that barrier, which is not easy. I've had moments of absolute horror when it's woken me up in the middle of the night, especially when I was selling Green Hill. I thought, oh, what am I doing here? But something kept me going. But fear and also finding the location, two of the hardest things.
You've mentioned your business plan a couple of times. Did having that process, putting it all down in that way, did that help you overcome the fear? Did it give you a structure to it?
Yes, definitely. And I would still always refer to my business plan and change it and almost have it as a living document as I move forward, that I know that
you're running it now, even though you've it's like
my ideas
like a journal plan.
And sometimes when I say that to people, and actually that's probably been another hurdle, was not only overcoming fear myself and my own self-limiting beliefs, it was then overcoming everyone else's. And what I mean by that is sometimes even people around me who would be supporting me, who would be people that would be providing a service to me, I became good at discerning the difference between when they were giving me professional advice or when it was their own fear or self-limiting beliefs coming in.
They're worried.
And I'd know, well, no, hang on. And I'm willing to take that risk. I think it's worth it. Particularly when I had people around me trying to say, right, look, just take that location, because it's not about the location, Lisa, it's about the service. But I knew that the service, the location is part of the service.
Of course,
100%, but they couldn't see that. So it would be quite easy when you have lots of people who are with you, working for you, to listen to that. But I had to drown that out and be really strong in myself and think, no, I know that's probably my nana. I know where I'm going with this. That's where I want to end up. And hopefully people, pet owners that come to Alcaig will like it, will think, this is lovely, this is just exactly the right setting. So,
and do you feel, you're just in this subject hurdles, do you feel that there's also an issue where sometimes you're going to apply real self-discipline to go, I've got to stay in the path? Because you're talking about having all these new ideas and developing.
Say that again, so that I should have self-discipline, because I do have self-discipline.
I'm just asking because you said your business plan is developing all the time. You've always got new ideas.
I do, I think that.
Is that something that can become distracting, or is it something that you can just push to one side and say, no, I've absolutely got to achieve the same that I've got here?
It's not distracting, because I also know that I can't do everything at once. So no, it's not distracting. There are stages to this, and is
that part of a plan for you? Is it the stages there?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. It's part of the year 1, year 2, year 3, and it evolves because already my business plan is out of date with certain things that are in it. But I would revisit that and think, well, no, that's not what ended up happening. We're going this way with it. And I think that's probably an example of where I would say, I think a lot of it I keep in here because I understand that I have to walk before I can run. And if I started to say the different ideas, you would think, oh, you haven't even done this bit yet. So I'd keep a lot of it in here, but I know me, I know Lisa, I know I'm 51, I know what makes me tick, I know what I'm likely to achieve. And I have lots of lovely ideas for both pets and their owner, all for going back to that, well, what's best for the pet and owner. And I wouldn't voice them yet because I have to get this up off the ground. This is obviously, pet cremation that's my business, as well as the obviously the on-site euthanasia. But eventually, I have lovely plans for the way I would love to see it evolve. Sometimes, and this is maybe a downside for me, learning to switch off. I could be in the bath at night and I'm still thinking, so switching off. I rarely watch television now, I find, which is maybe quite sad, I don't know. But I think it's just the way my brain works. Is that quite sad? Probably, I don't know.
So I've seen your operation, I've seen behind the scenes at Oliver's Pet Crematorium, and I've mentioned that it's very impressive, very compassionate. How do you ensure that feeling of love and care is put through every part of the experience for people at Oliver's? And how do you deal with those things that people might obviously want to see and be part of, but also the parts that people don't see?
I think I have to reassure, the biggest thing for me is to reassure people that their pet is handled with absolute dignity, love and care at all stages, and that people can trust me. It's a very much a relationship of trust. So the kind of front of house, if you like, where people would come in and say goodbye is it's really lovely, and it's like a living room. Okay, so it's it's really comfortable. You've got your nice sofa, and it's designed to be exactly like that. The term behind the scenes is it's well. I know what you mean.
I think there must be a situation where everybody understands that you're going to have to transport their pet through the process. And I'm not asking you to go into detail here, but I suppose I think people would like to know that when their beloved pet is handed over, that every step of that way, through what might be for many people a mechanical, clinical kind of journey, there's actually something deeper there that they can hold on to. They know that there's going to be that love and care that goes with it.
So it's back to that relationship, that trust, and what I have to do there, because I'm balancing. I'm trying. It's where compassion and care meets the legislative requirements. And so I was, as I told you the other day, I get inspected by the duty vets, and what they're looking for there is a real gold standard behind the scenes.
And that in itself would be comforting.
Yes, absolutely. I have a very robust system in place. The number one concern for, and in fact, I've even heard it this morning, of pet owners, including myself at one point, is how do I know it's my pet's ashes that I'm getting back? And do you do lots of them together? Is it just individual? So I am individual pet cremation, and only ever will be individual pet cremation. So your pet's ashes will only ever be your pet's ashes. When I pick up from, say for example, from the vet practice, if I'm going there and you've not brought your pet to me, then your pet, there's a really strict, and this is probably where your policing background comes into it with record keeping, of making sure that that is your pet that I'm picking up. That check happens again when we get back to Alcaig. And then your pet also has, and this is me where I go above and beyond, I've got that many systems in place to make sure there's also a wee disc that will stay with your pet right the way through until the collection of their ashes. So it's a robust system. Now I have to meet that system, I have to meet that requirement, but I also have to do that with compassion and care. I have to remember that, you know, every time that for example, my van, when I am carrying anybody's pet, that they're carried with dignity and respect. That could be my pet in there. And that van it's not, you know, you're not just driving a van you're driving a van that's full of really unconditional love. It's people's, you know, 12, 13 years or, you know, of or longer or shorter of love between you and a pet. And for me, I know that in the back of my head. I know the importance of the job that I've got to do and the honour and privilege in doing that for people. And I have to marry the two. I have to be able to, for example, if I thought I could, I would have the steading looking like the pod, and I can't do that because I have to, you know, from a cleanliness.
The pod being the place where you meet people.
This kind of front of house, the lovely room.
And the steading is where the cremation
would take place. But even the way you're what I don't want to do is I don't want to have so there's no cold storage with me. So your pet comes to me, whether it's you bringing them yourself or me picking them up, and then cremation would happen very quickly afterwards. So you're reunited with your pet quickly, and that you know, takes us away from the cold storage side of things that I understand that people have to have. Of course, vets have to have that, but and I have a backup that if somebody was, say, for example, on holiday and something happened and they said, no, I want to wait until you're back, till they're back, Lisa, or for a contingency, but day to day, no.
And it's important, isn't it? Because, you know, those people who've lived with pets, that sometimes they're their only companion, sometimes it's a family. Quite often they feel like part of the family.
Yes.
You know, in fact, I've seen pet owners describe them as their babies,
they do, absolutely.
You know, brothers and sisters and that kind of thing. You know, with it. So it's a really emotional time for people, isn't it? And they need to feel that it's in an ethical environment. So what does that ethical environment mean to you?
I think that's so important when it comes to the particular business that I am running. I would always do my best for the pet and pet owner, and even if that meant, Drew, that the pet, you know, your pet might not come to me, and for example, I've said to Laura, who's the vet that I work alongside with, you know, Laura, if you want to, if somebody came to say they loved the pod and they said, I want to come here and have my pet euthanized with you, Laura, so Laura does that. If they don't want to come for me for cremation, or they decide to bury, or they want to go to Nairn, then I'm going to help them do that. I think what I'm dealing with is so important that they get the right person or the right place, that ethically, I wouldn't feel right doing it any other way. And that might mean that I took somebody's pet through to Nairn the other day, to Jackie. So they weren't coming to me. I wasn't ready, but I'm still going to do that for that pet owner. And so I think it's hugely important for, you know, for what I'm doing. And just going back to what you're saying about them being members of the family, and some people say, everybody says they're members of the family. For me personally, I would elevate them. I would elevate them even higher. I think, and I've always said this the other day, you know, we as human beings let each other down all the time. Me too, and your pet never does. And for me, they're here for such a short period of time. We owe it to them to give them the best possible lives we can, and to give them the best possible farewell that we can, because they give us unconditional love from the moment we have them to the moment we say goodbye. And that's why I'm doing it.
With Oliver's Highland Pet Crematorium, you've raised the bar in terms of standards. I think anybody who's been through an experience of the vets, whatever, would know that if they were using your service now. What's next for you? What's next for Oliver's Highland Pet Crematorium?
So, well, obviously today, I've just opened today, and
this is your first day?
This is my first day.
So that's why you've been saying today you've been so busy, and
yes.
you've taken time out to come late on rush here to do this.
That's why I missed you at 2 o'clock. So yeah, today's the first day. So
for those people listening and watching, we had to arrange this for 2 o'clock. It's now 4 o'clock because there was a pet emergency that needed to be dealt with, and quite rightly,
I had to
quite
come
rightly,
first.
that the comfort for the person who'd lost their dear pet came first. And I think we both understand that, both being pet owners. But anyway, I was asking what's coming next for Oliver's Highland Pet Crematorium.
So over the next few months, it's to let the business unfold. I think I will, judging by this morning, it won't be long before I need people to help me. In fact, that could come fairly soon. I've got an amazing relationship with a vet in Bewley, Dominique, who's been outstanding. I think I'm going to end up needing other vets who will work alongside me and offer the service.
So if vets are watching or listening to this just now, you'd be keen for them to get in touch if they think this is something
that they might like to do.
Oh, right.
Yes, yeah, that would be. I'm looking for really kind and compassionate vets who would
align. And there's lots out there.
Absolutely, who would align with, my values, what I'm looking to do for the pet owner, and understand that that my whole business model is based on putting their needs first. As I move forward, as I get the business off the ground, I would love to have established routes, because obviously the Highlands, I'm offering this service Highland-wide, which is slightly scary, but I don't want anyone to feel that they can't, I don't want somebody to feel disadvantaged in Lochaber and Wick if they thought, I can't get to you. So I have to find a way of getting to them, but also making that work, that it works for the business, particularly if I start to take on staff. So it would be great to eventually have a good relationship with the vets, and that then in turn helps the pet owner, because if I'm coming your way and it's not a bespoke trip just for you, it makes it more cost effective. Moving really forward, I want to, when I've said this to you before, when I first met you, I would love to have a place, a lovely spot of land, another spot of land, here I go again, that people who have used the service and liked, it come through and thought, yes, this is a lovely business, that they will have access to that space, and it will be beautifully landscaped, and somewhere that they can plant a tree in memory of their pet if they so wish. The tree would be bought from a local business. I'm big about supporting local, and whether they have they might still have some pets, or for future pets, that it's somewhere that they go and they will have some sort of donation box that would go to a chosen charity. At the moment, I have chosen to support Highland Wildlife Rescue and the Lochie Animal Aid, because they're both local, they both do amazing jobs, and that's a percentage.
That's quite a big commitment to do that, to give part of your your income.
Each and every cremation.
Yeah.
There's a percentage, which probably scared my accountant. They went, don't do it right at the start.
But what a great commitment to make to those local charities for you. When pet owners are coming to you to use your service, when they've completed their journey, the final journey with their pet, how do you hope they'll feel about the service they've had from you?
Oh my gosh, I hope that my service will have brought them comfort at a time that they needed it most, and that they would feel that I provided them with the best possible care that I could, that it wasn't transactional, and that there was just a feeling of care and compassion threaded right throughout every aspect of the business, whether it's, you know, the local Highland artisans that I'm now working alongside, who all love their pets, who all understand the importance of what they're creating for somebody's pet's final resting place. All these wee things fed into Oliver's are what creates Oliver's. And I put a post on Facebook last night thanking everybody. It was a very long post, and I hope to God I haven't left anybody out, but I had done it. There was a couple of previous posts.
And if you have, you can say now,
I'm
I've left it.
sorry. So that was really important for me to do, as long as it was. I did that, and I've just lost my thread.
Well, you've actually brought me on to ask you the question I wanted to ask as a result of that, about how people might feel about your business, was that, you know, the impression I get is that, you know, we've talked about pets as family, but actually you're treating the whole experience like those people who are using the service are part of your family as well. That's the ethos
that's a lovely way to put it, actually.
So, you know, and families obviously come through this podcast, come through our previous conversations. You've talked about your dad and nana. What do you think they would think if they're looking at you now and seeing what you've done? What do you think they would think?
I would like to think that they both would be proud of me. This has been you know, Frankie Lolas, before I did that, and I did that with Jason. This is just myself, me doing this, and I wanted to do that. I've had lots of people, great people, who have wanted to come on board and invest. Some really great businessmen, actually.
Is this the formidable Lisa now? Is this coming through? Is it?
But I've decided not yet. At some point in the future, especially for future plans, perhaps. But just now, I think this has been a real journey for myself as well, that I thought, I want to prove I can do this, and I want to do the absolute best I can. And it's just important that I did it myself. So I think that...
Is that echoes of your dad and your nana, that little thing?
Yeah, I think I look back at my nana and think, gosh, you were so strong, and, you know, just quite I think an amazing businesswoman, and I think I can only hope that they would be really proud of what I've achieved. Obviously, I have to make this work. This is day one, but they would be, definitely.
Well, the formidable but very compassionate Lisa Lugton, thank you very much for joining us on this Growth for Good podcast. And thank you for listening and watching. If you'd like to get more Growth for Good podcasts, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the usual places you get your podcasts. So please like and share, and let others know about the Growth for Good podcast. It's doing great things, hopefully, to raise awareness about new businesses, great businesses that are operating throughout the Highlands, and it'd be great to have your support in making sure that that's shining through. Thank you for, again, listening and watching.